My goodness. Pinkie Pie is one of the most random, optimistic, and fun characters I have ever seen. It's really hard watching one of her episodes and not giggle right along with her. Her goals in life seem rather simple. She works as an apprentice baker at Sugar Cube Corner and spends the rest of her time spreading joy to everyone she comes across. I've got to admit that she can spread a little joy to my life too. No matter what kind of day I've had, no matter how down on myself I tend to feel, watching her seems to always lift my spirits, even for just a little while. It can get very entertaining when this extremely social pink pony is paired up with another character that isn't very social. When Pinkie is trying to help Fluttershy become more assertive, I was overjoyed to see her reenact a scene right out of the old Looney Tunes shorts. When Pinkie is trying to help Twilight break into the Canterlot Library, it's amusing to see her continue to bounce around smiling even with Twilight trying to keep everyone from being noticed. And when Pinkie is trying to cheer up Cranky Doodle, I can't help but laugh at the absurdness when these two polar opposite personalities clash. And then there's the Smile Song. Oh my goodness. This is the kind of song that stays in your head for weeks after you hear it. It's very upbeat, the animation is so smooth, the choreography matches so perfectly. It's so sickeningly happy and sweet that you just can't help but smile, smile, smile right along with everyone else. It tells you so much about who Pinkie is and what she does in the span of only a few minutes. Pinkie is such a wonderful character that spreads so much joy to so many others that you can't help but admire her. But even though I enjoy watching her antics and listening to her nonsense, every now and again I would sense something about Pinkie that seemed a little troubling. There was something about her that suggested a deep rooted issue, but I just couldn't put my finger on what it was for the longest time. I know that I enjoy watching her bring happiness to others, but I started wondering about her own happiness. Looking back into her past, we see that Pinkie was not always the happy pony that she is today. She grew up on a rock farm where she would spend her days pushing rocks from one field to another. And the animators do an excellent job at showing just how dull and tedious an existence like that can be. And Pinkie's family doesn't seem to do anything to bring joy into each other's lives. It isn't until that fateful day of a sonic rain boom that Pinkie begins to discover what joy feels like. And her very first thought after that moment was how to bring joy to the lives of others. You have to admire the fact that when Pinkie finds something wonderful, she immediately wants to share it with those she cares about. And the next day, we see Pinkie put together her very first party. And even though her family actually struggles to make sense of it at first, they soon start to feel the joy that Pinkie wanted to share. And that desire to share joy with others came to define Pinkie's greatest strength in her character. Nowadays, when we see Pinkie, she is constantly spending her life making others happy. But there is something peculiar that we notice when she feels like she can't do what she wants most out of life. In Party of One, we see Pinkie as the joyful party pony we've come to expect her to be. Her natural talents seem to be in full force. But Pinkie doesn't seem to realize what we as an audience start to realize. Pinkie tends to do things that she thinks are fun, but not necessarily what her guests think are fun. We see Applejack and Rainbow Dash getting pranked. We see Rarity's face when she realizes that she's been drinking punch that had an alligator swimming in it. And both Twilight and Fluttershy are a little taken back by Pinkie's dancing. We do see that all of her friends enjoy her parties, but they are also a little overwhelmed by her enthusiasm. However, this is not the only case where Pinkie seems to want to enjoy herself without realizing how others are feeling. In Baby Cakes, Pinkie is often seen playing with the infants, and it's obvious that the twins are enjoying Pinkie's antics. But when the time comes for actually taking care of the Cake twins, Pinkie is still only concerned about how long it will be until she can start having fun with them again. Even in moments where the cakes are clearly uncomfortable, Pinkie is still focused on having fun. We also see similar behavior in The Best Night Ever, when Pinkie is trying to get a real party going and the others are trying to tell her that it's not that kind of party. As I've mentioned in my first video, Pinkie has this tendency to push her views on others even when it really isn't wanted. But what really stands out is when Pinky starts to believe that all the joy she brought to others wasn't really there. Have you ever done something that made someone else really happy and then decide that you want to do more of it? What if you discovered that what you had been doing all this time didn't really make others happy and they were just trying to spare your feelings? I can really relate to how Pinky is feeling here. We see that when Pinky feels that she can't do what she wants most out of life, she can get very depressed very quickly, which also makes her revert back to the way she was before she discovered what joy feels like. She does try to recapture that joy of bringing happiness to others by having a party with inanimate objects. Oh my. Pinky has this deep rooted need to feel like she is bringing happiness to others, and we can see what happens when that is taken away from her. So we can start to understand why Pinky wants to have fun and go to parties all the time. But there is something else that Pinky seems to be hiding. In the cutie pox, a special seed is planted that will only grow when someone tells the truth. Applejack begs for someone, anyone, to come clean, and this is how Pinky reacts.
Yesterday I told Mrs. Cake that I ate 2 corn cakes, but I really ate 3. Okay, 6! I ate 6 corn cakes! Make it stop! Oh, make it stop!
What is it that Pinky is hiding here? Is there something here that she isn't even willing to admit to herself? I was wondering what this might be for quite some time. That is, until I noticed a scene out of Ponyville Confidential. Gabby Gums is writing articles about everyone's deepest secrets around town. And when Pinky is featured in an article,
Pinkie Pie is an out-of-control party animal. What? It's true! I do have a problem!
could it be that Pinky had actually been denying to the world and herself about her partying going too far for all that time? It certainly seems that way. It took her nearly 2 seasons of the show before she would admit that. Despite the fact that she spreads so much joy to everyone that comes in contact with her, she does have a problem when it comes to pushing her views on others. Does this mean that Pinky is not growing as a character because of this recurring issue? I had trouble deciding one way or the other. That is, until I saw the events in Too Many Pinkie Pies. This is the episode that shows Pinky is getting better at respecting the feelings of others while still being the random, optimistic, and fun pony that we enjoy spending time with. Pinky has always believed that by being her everyday self, she can have fun with others while bringing a little more joy into their lives. But when she has trouble making a choice between who she spends her time with, she comes up with the idea of duplicating herself to spread even more joy and have even more fun. She really believes that by having more of her to go around, everyone around her will be happier, and thus so will Pinky herself. We also see Pinky actually be more considerate of what her friends want to do. She's spending an afternoon at the pond with Rainbow Dash, expecting the two of them to enjoy a swim. But when Rainbow actually has a different idea,
Look, I was just gearing up to catch some Z's, so,
Gotcha. I'll have the rest of my fun really quietly.
how'd you do that?
Just trying to show a little consideration for my sleepy friend.
however, the Pinky clones do not share this same empathy for others. Their only concern is having their fun. It is at this moment that Pinky can finally see what mindless fun can do to others. Pinky has never been quite as insensitive as her clones are being, but it's a real wake-up call when Pinky sees how they are affecting everyone. This causes Pinky to doubt in herself. She even starts to wonder if she is the real Pinky, but she doesn't want to abandon her friends' hopes in her. During the paint drying scene, we see Pinky at her most determined. She completely puts aside all of her normal quirks and remains the most calm and collected that we have ever seen her being. And throughout the test, we aren't quite sure which one is the real Pinky. But when only one remains, there is no doubt in our minds that only the real Pinky would be so devoted to overcome her need for fun. This is the episode where Pinky grows the most as a character. This is where she learns the most about being considerate and devoted. She manages to hold on to her joyful attitudes and still spreads happiness to others. I'm sure there will still be moments where she is pushing her ideals a little too hard, but with this episode I do believe that Pinky is becoming more mature in her methods. She managed to overcome some of her weakness while still holding true to what makes her so strong. I'm glad that we have a character like Pinkie Pie. She reminds us to think positive by inserting a little randomness into our lives. She's a great source of strength to her friends and has made it her mission in life to lift the spirits of everyone she meets. Even though we may never be able to match her skills when it comes to uplifting others, I hope that each of us can think of ways to follow in her example. It makes reality so much more enriching when we can be optimistic, and even just a little random. And it will always make me smile when I see Pinky break out the party cannon. I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.